The universe should not exist. The laws that built it are tuned so precisely that shifting a single number in the 120th decimal place would have erased every star, every atom, every thought you have ever had. And yet here you are, breathing, reading, conscious, inside a cosmos that statistically had no reason to allow you. So what if our presence here is not a triumph, but a glitch the universe never corrected? For 70 years, physicists have quietly collected evidence that something is wrong with our place in the cosmos. The deeper they look, the stranger the silence becomes. And the strangest theories are the ones nobody wants to say out loud. Number 10, the fine-tuning catastrophe. The cosmological constant should not be what it is. When physicists at Stanford and CERN calculated the expected value of the vacuum energy of empty space using quantum field theory, they got a number 10 to the power of 120 times larger than what we actually measure. That is the worst prediction in the entire history of science. A number off by a factor with 120 zeros after it. Yet the real value, the tiny one, is the only value that allows galaxies to form. Steven Weinberg, the Nobel laureate who first published the calculation in 1989, called it the most embarrassing problem in physics. Because if the constant were slightly larger, space would have torn itself apart before the first atom formed. Slightly smaller, and the universe would have collapsed back on itself in seconds. The dial is set with an impossible precision, and nobody can explain who set it. The numbers do not lie. The numbers do not negotiate. The numbers say a coincidence of this scale has no business existing. So if the dial was tuned, the next question becomes unavoidable. Tuned by what? Number 9, the silent sky. Enrico Fermi asked the question in 1950 over lunch at Los Alamos. The Milky Way contains roughly 400 billion stars. The observable universe contains 2 trillion galaxies. Even if life is rare, the math says the sky should be screaming with civilizations. Instead, after 65 years of focused radio searches by the SETI Institute, the Allen Telescope Array, and the Breakthrough Listen project funded with $100 million by Yuri Milner, we have detected exactly 0 confirmed artificial signals. Astrophysicist Robin Hansen named the implication in 1996. He called it the Great Filter. Somewhere on the path from dead matter to galactic civilization, something kills almost everything that tries to cross. The filter is either behind us, meaning we are the freak survivors of a near impossible journey, or the filter is ahead of us, meaning every advanced species hits a wall and dies. Both options should disturb you. Both options suggest the universe is not built to keep us here. And if civilizations are vanishing before they can speak, the next anomaly suggests something even more disturbing about the rules of physics themselves. Number 8. The matter that should not exist. In the first microsecond after the Big Bang, matter and antimatter were created in equal amounts. They should have annihilated each other completely, leaving a universe of pure radiation and nothing else. No planets, no stars, no you. But in 1964, James Cronin and Val Fitch at Princeton ran an experiment with neutral kaons that won them the Nobel Prize. They discovered a tiny asymmetry, a violation of charge parity symmetry, that left behind 1 extra particle of matter for every 1 billion pairs that destroyed each other. Every atom of your body, every grain of sand on every beach, every black hole at the heart of every galaxy exists because of that 1 in 1 billion mistake. The standard model of particle physics, refined for 50 years and verified to extraordinary precision, still cannot explain why the asymmetry exists. CERN LHCb experiment, running since 2009, has searched for the missing physics and found only deeper mysteries. We are residue. We are the survivors of a near-total annihilation, and the closer scientists look at the equations, the more it seems we were never supposed to make it. Number 7, the dimming galaxies. Vera Rubin spent the 1970s pointing telescopes at the Andromeda Galaxy and discovered something impossible. The outer stars were orbiting too fast. By Newton's laws, they should have been flung into deep space. By Einstein's equations, they should not be there at all. The only way to keep them gravitationally bound was to assume that 85% of the matter in every galaxy is invisible. We named it dark matter. After 50 years and detectors buried more than 1 kilometer underground, including the LZ experiment at the Sanford Lab in South Dakota, no particle of dark matter has ever been directly detected. Add to that dark energy the unknown force discovered in 1998 by Saul Perlmutter and Adam Rees, which makes up 68% of the total energy of the cosmos. Together, dark matter and dark energy make up 95% of reality. We have only ever measured 5%. Think about that. Everything you have ever seen, everything every telescope has ever recorded, everything science has ever described, is 5% of what is actually out there. The other 95% is hiding, and the things that hide do not always want to be found. Number 6, the privileged Earth. Earth sits inside an unreasonable nest of coincidences. The Sun is one of the rare stable G-type stars, only 7% of stars in the galaxy. Our orbit lies inside a narrow habitable zone roughly 0.04 astronomical units wide. Jupiter, 318 times the mass of Earth, sits in just the right place to vacuum up comets that would otherwise have sterilized our surface. The Moon, abnormally large at 27% the diameter of Earth, stabilizes our axial tilt to within 3 degrees over millions of years, preventing climate catastrophes. Our magnetic field deflects radiation that would have stripped the atmosphere away, the same way it stripped Mars in roughly 500 million years. In 2000, paleontologist Peter Ward and astronomer Donald Brownlee published the rare Earth hypothesis, arguing that the combined probability of all these conditions occurring on a single planet may be vanishingly small. Some estimates put it at less than 1 in 700 quintillion. The very rock under your feet is a statistical impossibility wearing the disguise of an ordinary planet. And if Earth is the lottery ticket, the next theory questions whether the lottery itself is even real. Number 5, the simulation evidence. In 2003, Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom published a paper that has now been cited more than 2,000 times. He argued that at least one of 3 statements must be true. Either civilizations go extinct before they can simulate reality, or advanced civilizations choose not to run such simulations, or we are almost certainly inside one. The math is brutal. If any civilization ever reaches the technology to run even one ancestor simulation, it will run trillions, and the ratio of simulated minds to real ones becomes overwhelming. In 2017, physicists at the University of Bonn ran calculations suggesting that the universe behaves with discrete, pixel-like resolution at the Planck scale of 10 to the power of minus 35 meters. In 2020, MIT theorist Seth Lloyd calculated that the universe has performed approximately 10 to the power of 120 computational operations since the Big Bang, the exact number a simulation would need. Elon Musk has stated publicly that the odds we are in base reality are billions to 1. The cracks in the screen, the glitches in the quantum world, the strange double-slit results, all whisper the same possibility. We may not be living, we may be running. Number 4, the entropy puzzle. Roger Penrose, the Nobel laureate, calculated the odds of the universe beginning in the low entropy state we observe. The number he published is so large it cannot be written in standard notation. He expressed it as 1 chance in 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 123. A number so vast that if you wrote a 0 on every particle in the observable universe, you would still run out of particles before you finished writing it. That is the odds the Big Bang would produce a universe orderly enough to develop stars, planets, and conscious observers. The second law of thermodynamics says systems trend toward disorder. So how did existence start in a state of near-perfect order? Penrose has suggested the answer requires physics we do not yet possess. Sean Carroll at Caltech has spent more than 15 years trying to solve the puzzle and admits we still have no satisfying answer. Reality should be chaos. Reality should be soup. Instead, it is structured, layered, evolving toward complexity against every probabilistic law we have ever written. The order that lets you think this thought is itself the deepest mystery in physics. And yet, there is one mystery that goes even further. Number 3, the consciousness collapse. In 1801, Thomas Young demonstrated that light behaves as a wave. In 1927, the double-slit experiment revealed something stranger. When unobserved, a single electron passes through both slits at once and interferes with itself. When measured, it picks one path. The act of observation appears to physically change what reality does. Nobel laureate Eugene Wigner argued in 1961 that consciousness itself must be part of the equation. Decades later, physicists at the Australian National University in 2015 ran a delayed choice experiment with helium atoms and confirmed that the choice of measurement made after the particle had already passed through the apparatus retroactively determined the path it had taken. Reality, at the quantum level, appears to wait for someone to look. Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff have proposed the OR theory, which suggests consciousness arises from quantum processes in microtubules inside neurons. If they are correct, the universe and the observer are entangled at the most fundamental level. The watcher and the watched are one system, which means you are not separate from this cosmos. You may be the reason it exists in the form you see. And if that is true, the next entry will rearrange everything you thought you were. Number 2, the Boltzmann brain crisis. Sean Carroll, Andreas Ulbricht, and Lorenzo Sorbo have shown that in an infinite or sufficiently old universe, random thermal fluctuations will eventually produce, by sheer accident, fully formed conscious brains floating in empty space. These hypothetical observers, named after physicist Ludwig Boltzmann, who first proposed the idea in 1895, would have memories, sensations, and false histories, all created in a single statistical hiccup. The math is merciless. In any cosmology where the universe lasts long enough, the number of Boltzmann brains will dramatically outnumber the number of brains produced by normal evolutionary history. By probability alone, you are statistically more likely to be a flicker of disorganized matter that briefly imagined a life, a planet, and a video script than a real person who actually lived 30 or 40 years on a real Earth. Physicists have called this the most disturbing conclusion in modern cosmology. It is not science fiction. It is a direct consequence of the standard models being used at Caltech, Stanford, and Cambridge today. Your memories may be a single second old. Your past may be a fabrication of random heat, and if that does not yet feel personal enough, the final theory closes the distance entirely. Number 1, the anthropic verdict. You exist in a universe that, by every law we have measured, should have been impossible. The proton-to-electron mass ratio is 1,836. 15, accurate to 10 decimal places, and a shift of 1% would prevent stable molecules. The strong nuclear force is tuned to within 0.5% of the value required for carbon to form inside stars. Fred Hoyle predicted the precise resonance of the carbon-12 nucleus in 1953, and when it was confirmed, he wrote that a super intellect had monkeyed with physics. The cosmological constant, the matter-antimatter asymmetry, the low entropy origin, the rarity of Earth, the silence of the cosmos, the role of consciousness, the threat of Boltzmann brains, every single one of these points converges on the same uncomfortable conclusion. The universe was not built for us. It was not built to allow us. And yet, it did. The anthropic principle, formalized by Brandon Carter in 1973, states the only reason we observe these impossible coincidences is because if any of them were different, no observer would exist to notice, which means your existence is not a side effect of the cosmos. Your existence is the only reason the cosmos has any of these values at all. You are not living inside the universe. The universe, in some sense we do not yet understand, is living inside the fact of you. Every theory ends in the same direction. Like rivers running toward a sea, no one is allowed to map. The deeper science looks into the architecture of reality, the more it seems to be looking back. We are residue. We are exception. We are the improbable observer that physics cannot account for and cannot ignore. Maybe we are intruders in a cosmos that forgot to lock the door. Maybe we are the door. Either way, the next time you look up at the night sky, remember, the silence above you is not empty. It is waiting. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now.